Hey loves, it's Andrew B and welcome back to my channel, and today I have a new hair video for you guys. I know you guys love my hair videos over any other type of my videos, so I thought I should do another hair video. If you like my makeup, I have done a tutorial on this, including the little flowers behind. They go with my background for this tutorial. It was inspired by Meghan Markle's wedding makeup, so if you'd like to see that video, I'm going to link it in the eye right here, so make sure you look out for that. Anyway, let us get straight into the video, and if you aren't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. It's going to be down there. It's a big red button. It is free to subscribe, and also make sure you hit the little bell icon right next to it, which just ensures that you get notifications every single time I post. So without further ado, let us get straight into the video. This is going to be the 7 tips that changed my life when it comes to weaving as my preferred protective style. So my first tip, I do have a list on my phone, so if you see me looking down, it's because I'm just looking at the list. The first note that I have is what you do before you put the weave in your hair. So this doesn't matter whether you're gonna wear a wig or a weave, because it's pretty much the same thing, although with a weave you can't really just take it down and change what's underneath. So this is what's to do before. So this is still kind of more towards a weave. And please ignore the light changing, going in and out. It's just, you know, when I'm filming, the light always wants to change, just like this right now. So we're just gonna have to ignore that. Anyway, the first tip is to do a protein treatment right before you weave your hair. So usually I like to wash, condition my hair, everything the night before, so that the next day when I go to the hair salon, or if you do it yourself, still give yourself some space to breathe. So I don't like to wash and then blow dry and do everything and then weave the hair instantly. I like my scalp to breathe a little bit, so I do everything the night before, and then the next day in the morning is when I go and do the hair. So you want your hair to be in tip-top condition before you braid it. Make sure you're not just saying, oh, my hair is in bad shape, so let me just braid it and put it away and forget about it. No, you need to make sure that your hair is in tip-top condition before you braid it. So I always do a protein treatment. I like to use the Afagi 2-minute reconstructor. I'm going to put a picture of the bottle somewhere if you don't know what it looks like. So that's what I use as a protein treatment. Sometimes I use the hair mayonnaise, but I find that the Afagi just works better for me. So use whatever protein treatment works best for you and use that in your hair. And my second tip is what you do after the protein treatment. Every time you do a protein treatment, you need to follow it with a deep conditioning treatment, and this just ensures that your hair is going to be soft, moisturized. It won't be brittle, it won't break, and it'll be easy for the person to braid your hair. Personally, I like to blow dry my hair just because my roots, I am TEXLAXED if you didn't know, and my roots are really thick, and so I'm always scared that when I might lose more hair by blow drying than not blow drying, because sometimes no matter how gentle the person is, they just, when making lines in the hair, they just tend to rip through the hair, you know. So I prefer to blow dry my hair just on a medium setting, but that's not part of the tips. You can do whatever you like to do with your hair, as long as you do a protein treatment and then follow that up with a deep conditioning treatment. So now we are on to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is the tightness of your braids. Now, if you braid your hair yourself, make sure that you're not making the braids for the base of where you're going to sew the weaving. Make sure that the braids aren't too tight. Braids that are too tight is what really makes you lose hair. Lots of people say, I don't want to weave my hair because it makes my hair break, and that's usually because the braids are so tight that it pulls out the hair from the roots, and by the time you take your hair out, the roots are so weak and damaged, so you don't want to do this. And if you go to the hair salon like I do, if they start to braid your hair and by the second braid you can feel like this is too tight, look, it doesn't matter if the hairdresser is going to get mad, because she's going to get angry, and then like 30 minutes later, she's going to get over it if that's the kind of person your hairdresser is. But at the end of the day, you're going to lose your hair if you don't speak up. So if the person's braiding your hair too tight, just tell them, it's a little too tight. Can you please braid it slightly looser? And just, you know, make friends with your hairdresser so that you can at least have those conversations with them, and make sure that your braids aren't too tight, and so that it is comfortable for you, and that will be a safe ground for your hair to grow in. My next tip is wash your hair. Now, I'm not talking about washing your hair before. I'm talking about when your hair is in the weave. You need to wash the weave. You need to wash your hair underneath. You can use a diluted shampoo, or while you're washing the weave, you can just get the foam that's coming from the weave, and push that into your roots and scrub it down, because if you want your hair to grow, you need a clean scalp, you need your hair to breathe. So make sure that you're shampooing it as you're shampooing the weave. I do this sometimes every week, sometimes every 2 weeks before, depending on how oily the hair is. I like to keep the weave in my hair for a maximum of 5 weeks. I don't like to go over that, because then my edges start to suffer, and I don't like to do that. So make sure that every time you have a weave in, because usually stylists don't tell you this, wash your hair, okay? You will thank me later. Your hair will be so fresh, and it's also going to prevent the buildup. You know, sometimes when you take out braids, you have like buildup somewhere in the roots because of like dandruff and dry skin building up. So make sure, well, dandruff is dry skin, but you know what I mean. All that buildup with products and everything on your scalp just makes it not a good, safe place for your hair to grow. It does not promote hair growth. So make sure that you are always washing your hair at least twice or 3 times while you have your weave in for the duration you have it in. My second tip is oil. Oil your scalp while you have the weave in. I usually do this like once a week because I don't like the hair. Wow, this sun is crazy. You don't want your scalp to be so dry that your hair starts to break because your scalp is so dry. You need to make sure that you're always oiling your scalp. I prefer to use an oil mix, and I use avocado oil, tea tree, and peppermint, because the tea tree and peppermint, they promote hair growth at your scalp, and they also leave it refreshing, and they prevent your hair from itching, because it gives like a really refreshing feeling. It makes the scalp tingle. It removes any bacteria. So if there's any sort of moisture in your hair, maybe because of the humid weather or something, the tea tree and the peppermint is really going to help relieve that. So I always like to oil my scalp with those oils. But you can use whatever oil works best for you. Next, this tip is to do with taking your hair down. When you are done with your weave, the duration, whether it's 4 weeks, 5 weeks, or 6 weeks, I don't recommend going further than 6 weeks, because you might not have, some good results after that. But anyway, too much of everything is bad, even if it's good. But when taking your hair down, make sure that you take the weave down very nicely. If you don't take it down yourself, make sure you get someone who can really trust under very, very good light, so that they can differentiate between your hair and the cotton that's been sewn into your hair. And then when you take that down, don't use one of those tiny combs to start taking out the braids. I would advise you to get some coconut oil or avocado oil, whatever your favorite oil is. Rub it on your fingertips, rub it on your braids, and then start to unravel the braids just with your hands. Don't use a comb. Maybe right at the ends if it's like hard to start. But once you're moving up, just use your hands to detangle that, and then take out all the shed hairs using your hands. Don't start getting a comb and start fighting through, putting the comb at the base and pulling it out. No, you want to start from the ends and work your way up to the roots if you're going to comb through it like that to detangle. And make sure you remove all the shed hairs before you wash your hair, because that can cause lots of tangling if all your shed hairs is all mixed in there. And by the way, don't worry. I hear lots of people say they're worried that weaves take out their hair and stuff, because after they comb their hair, like there's so much shed hair that comes out. But if you think about it, the average human loses between 60 to 150 or 100 hairs every single day. So if you have had your hair in for 6 weeks, multiply, like, let's say 120 by all the days in the 6 weeks, and that's a lot of hair. So that's not hair just coming out of your scalp or being pulled out. It's literally just naturally shedding. So don't be worried about that. And then for my last tip is very crucial. And this one is always wait 2 weeks before you switch into another protective style. So if you always do weaves, when you take your weave down, let your hair breathe for a full 2 weeks before you wash it and put another weave in. Again, I see lots of people who've got very bad edges, thinning hair, and then they go to the hair salon, take their weave down, wash their hair, blow dry it, and then go straight back into the weave. That causes extreme stress on your hair. It causes shedding, and that will not grow your hair. That will extremely damage your hair. So if you think weaves are damaging to hair, those are some of the reasons why they're damaging. Okay, make sure you wait a full 2 weeks. I always wait, even if I'm going to do box braids or whatever kind of braids where I'm using like wigs or something. I always make sure I wait 2 weeks in between I do before doing another protective style. So those are my tips for how to grow your hair in a weave, and make sure that you're taking care of your hair as good as you take care of your weave. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will see you in my next video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you didn't subscribe at the beginning, make sure you go ahead and do that, and I'll see you guys in my next video.